Alright, guys. I've got a new Ren reaction to an old Ren song. Actually, I don't even know if this is old, but Insomnia. Okay, we're here for it 6 years ago, so it was a while ago. I don't think I've done this. If I have, I won't post it. Let's get right into it. Ren Insomnia.
What is it all for? I've asked myself that question so many times now, it's become more worn than my Reebok classics. I'm a slave to frivolous habits. Of introspection without any destination, ruminating thoughts in constant rotation. Is this what it means to be conscious? To constantly question our conscious? Despondently fall on my back horizontal.
Wow, man. What a poet. Yeah, that's a crazy intro. Like he said basically just like falling victim to like the same habits, repetitive, like almost compulsive habits over and over, and there's this constant mental torment that Ren seems to talk about. I do wonder, like, I don't know, I usually there's some kind of trauma that comes with that thought pattern, or at least I've noticed. And I know I'm fully aware of like Ren's medical issues and what he's been struggling with, and so it could be linked to that, or maybe there's like some other trauma in there too. But it certainly sounds like an individual who's traumatized usually has a lot of those like similar thought patterns.
Horizontally, under my bed there are monsters that visit me when I try to sleep. They're those thoughts that play on repeat, that say, Ren, you're always gonna suffer, Ren. You're always gonna suffer. And I boomerang between optimism and pessimism so much that my sanctuary could be a prison. What blinds me could give me vision, and what finds me is this indecision of what to do with these questions. Is there purpose? Is there God? And if there is God, then God, why do I feel like this, God? Are we not sculpted?
Yeah, so wow. So he's saying he does this rotation between extreme pessimism and then optimism. And then he says his sanctuary is a prison? Meaning I don't know. Oh, like his escape. His escape from this cycle presumably could be like a drug or like some kind of habit potentially. And then that in and of itself is its own prison. So he's saying I think he's expressing he's either locked into pessimism, which isn't good, or a blind optimism, which also isn't good. But his escape, his sanctuary, which presumably is like some form of escapism, is in itself a prison. And so then he goes into like he asks the question like, is there a purpose to all of this suffering? Is there a point? And is there a God? Which is it's a big, honest question that I think even like the hardest atheists at some points maybe ask themselves, like, I don't know, is there some kind of like destiny, some kind of universe, not necessarily like the God of the Judeo-Christian Bible, but like, is there some kind of a higher power of some sort? I feel like this is a common question that most people struggle with. Yeah, anyway, we'll keep rocking.
In your image. And if so, do you feel that pain? Unrelinquishing pain, like my brain got put under a Bunsen burner and torched until the membranes became flame. I hate not sleeping. I like the weekend because other people don't sleep either. Mindless TV shows irritate me, but they're my messiah, because I can become brain dead, wasted, lost in trails of dry saliva. But I'm a survivor, a child of destiny. But this night has been testing me. Question and mess that's progressing, undressing me, stripping me naked and stuffing the stress in me. I used to use drinking as a way to stop thinking, and my problems with drinking made me feel like I was sinking. So I dried up my drinking and I couldn't sleep a wink. And now I'm thinking about nothing. Fucking nothing and everything and nothing. I hate not sleeping, so I lie here trying to count sheep, and their bleating's repeating. My bleeding heart is beating.
Man, this is kind of fucking nuts that of all the videos I clicked on this one because I couldn't fall asleep last night, and I ended up taking a NyQuil because same kind of a situation, and I understand, guys. I understand that's not good. So I woke up. I worked out really hard. I'm gonna, because usually if I'm sitting around, I do nothing, and then I have a bunch of caffeine. Falling asleep is very difficult. And I have some stressful things going on. So I woke up. I was like, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna get super sweaty. That way, once it gets to nighttime, I'm gonna be good and tired. Not gonna be a problem. But like, yeah, last night I was like just so like I was so in my head, and yeah, okay, I made the decision to take a NyQuil instead of work out or something. And I woke up and I was like, I fucking hate this. Like this, I hate. First of all, I hate doing that, and then second of all, I hate the morning after. I feel like I don't even get good sleep, but it just knocks me out. And then the morning after, I feel like weird. There's shit in it that's just not good for my brain. And it's like, all right. And this isn't a common habit, by the way. I'm just clarifying because I know some of you you Ren fans are very empathetic and compassionate, which I love and respect. But it's not a common occurrence for me. But I realized, like, oh shit, it knocked me out. I liked that aspect of it. But I woke up. I was like, I'm gonna get my shit in so that I'm not having trouble falling asleep. Anyway, point being, crazy that I clicked on this video of all the video. I haven't done an old Ren reaction for a while. Crazy that I chose this one. But he said, thinking of nothing. I'm thinking of nothing, but I'm thinking of everything, but I'm thinking of nothing at the same time. And that's kind of that's a great way of describing, like, I'll be very anxious usually when I can't fall asleep. And my thought process is I'll think about everything, but at the same time, if you think about what that thinking is getting done, sometimes that thinking can be effective. The trick is to make that insomniac thought process that you're having, if you can make that thought process effective, great. You can optimize your life. But if you can't, then essentially all of that thought and worrying and hypothetical situations, depending on what the thought processes in the topics and themes are, it can give you nothing. So you could be thinking about everything, but thinking about nothing because you're not exactly being productive with a thought. Which it's a very difficult. It's easier to change your actions, and then your actions change your thoughts, than you to just decide, like, wake up and be like, I'm gonna change the way I think. Which is, that's great, and if you can do that, great. But I've found changing my actions. Changing my actions is a lot easier to then shift my thought process, but first action and then shifting my thought process. Usually it's in the form of like exercise or just jumping into something. But exercise I find the most beneficial because I know if I get like depressed or something, I know, like, all right, I got to eat a little bit better. I got to work out, get those good chemicals going. And then once I've done that, given myself a boost, I got to kind of examine what's going on while I'm working out, while I'm just kind of like breathing heavy. I'm in that fight or flight. Heart rate is high, try to figure out what's going on with me. And then from that point, I can kind of heal and, change my course. I know this might not have been what you expected when you clicked on an Insomnia Ren reaction, but yeah, that's kind of because this is something that I've been struggled with a lot more in the past month or two. Is sleeping, and part of it is because of less movement and less exercise, which I'm trying to change that. I am changing that. I'm not trying. To try is like, I don't know. The verb to try is a tricky one. I don't know how I feel about it. But I do know when I'm not actually doing the things I know I'm supposed to do, I start using that word try a lot. Like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And that doesn't mean every time you use it, it's not genuine. But I do know that I use it a lot more when I'm kind of fucking off, Anyway, let's keep going through this. also a beautiful piece of poetry. It comes in kind of like spoken word, and his rhymes kind of end on the snare. That like typical 4-bar progression, but it's more focused on like the poetic spoken word element of it than it is on the like some kind of grand instrumentation, which I really like. I think that's cool. And it almost in a way reflects like the Insomniac. Part of the problem with the Insomniac thoughts is your thoughts when you're trying to fall asleep, but you can't fall asleep. Your thoughts become louder and louder and louder. And so I kind of like that he chose to do like the music was a secondary thing, but his voice was the primary thing, because that's kind of very I feel like that mirrors and mimics Insomnia in some respects. If I hope that was like cohesive enough for you guys to follow it. But I really like that element of this.
And beating, eating, my sleep is depleting, pleading for thing and everything and nothing. I hate not sleeping, so I lie here trying to count sheep, and their bleating's repeating. My bleeding heart is beating and beating, eating. My sleep is depleting, pleading for healing. It's fleeting, longing for sleep that's so deep it's peaking. I weep in these sheets, it's doubling, doubly troubled, it's ugly, bleak, it's so bleak, it's so bleak, and I lost my mind on a line. I hate not sleeping, I hate not sleeping.
Wow. You know, I'll say this much too. I love Ren, and I really like his music. I mean, he's obviously an incredible talent. Very like, incredibly talented guy. He's spent years and years and years practicing, perfecting, changing, experimenting, and I have a lot of respect for him. But something that I realize is if I listen to too much Ren, I start to become too ingrained in because a lot of his music is depressing. As much as I love it, a lot of it is depressing. A lot of it is it's angsty. It sometimes even listening to it makes me even more anxious, or it almost like accentuates the problem I'm having. And that's no disrespect to Ren, because it's an artistic expression of what he goes through. And so if he goes through that, it's only fair that his music represents that. And so I'm not really dissing that part of it. But for me personally, I've realized if I listen to too much Ren, it almost like ingrains even worse the problem that I'm having, depending on, because insomnia, depression, like he has all these songs that really do a phenomenal job of reflecting the experience of the topics, whether it's insomnia or depression. He has this amazing ability to depict and bring you into this world, and you if you experience these things, it feels like you're in that, because he's exactly right, and he does a great job of bringing you into that and expressing it. But I honestly I sometimes it makes it so much. If I have a song that I can play that is exactly how I feel, but instead of for me, the effect is it just like reinforces, like if I'm depressed and I listen to a Ren song that like kind of has those elements, I feel like it reinforces me deeper into that, which, I'm torn, because I really like the music and it's really good. And I do listen to it. But I prefer to listen to Ren when I'm in a really good mood. I prefer to listen to Ren when I'm doing well, because I know if I listen to his shit, and not shit, but if I listen to Ren's music when I have something going on, I feel like it makes me even more like tumultuous within myself, Anyway, this was a 2-minute and 30-second song, and I've been talking for like 10 fucking minutes, so there's a little treat for you guys, a little therapy session. So you guys take care. Thank you for tuning in. Love you, Ren. No disrespect, brother.